If you're thinking about moving abroad, the worst mistake you can make is testing a country from a hotel room. I've visited more than 55 countries and lived in 6. Today, I'll tell you why staying in a hotel makes no sense if you're thinking of moving there. And I'll show you what to do instead. Chapter 1. Live like a local. When you test a country, do you want the tourist experience? Or do you want to know what life there really feels like? That's the problem with hotels. Hotels are built for tourists, not for people considering living there. Your sheets are changed regularly, breakfast is ready every morning, and you're always in the city center. Sounds nice, but it tells you nothing about daily life. Sure, that's fine if you're staying in the city for a couple of days, hitting all the top attractions, and never coming back. But if you're serious about moving somewhere else, staying in a hotel and doing all these touristy things will give you the wrong idea of daily life. The only way to properly test a country is to simulate your everyday life there. Unless you live in a hotel back home, choose a short-term rental, not a hotel. But there's a caveat. It can't be just another Airbnb that feels like a hotel. It has to be a regular place that you could afford if you decided to live there. It means renting a normal place that a local with your purchasing power would rent, not a place reserved for the wealthiest tourists. This will show you the everyday reality of how locals live, not a glamorous area carefully manicured for tourists. It means having a place where you can actually lead a normal life, cook in a proper kitchen, have neighbors, do laundry, or store your bike. Since you're not outside all day long exploring tourist attractions, ask yourself if you can get proper rest. Hotels may shield you from some unpleasant realities, including barking dogs, motorbikes, or construction noise. Even if you're testing a place just for a week or two, this will reveal challenges you wouldn't notice as a tourist. And lastly, it means renting the type of place where you would personally see yourself living. For example, I don't like living in apartments, so I almost never rent one when exploring new destinations. Instead, I opt for countryside homes, the same kind of place I'd want to live in anywhere. This not only shows me if I can even have the kind of lifestyle I'm after, but also how it works in practical terms. For example, some rural areas have terrible internet connectivity, which is crucial if you're working from home. If you currently live in a centrally located one-bedroom apartment, rent a similar place in your target destination. But if you prefer the suburbs or absolutely need a beach within walking distance, look for a place matching these preferences. As a tourist, you may not care about the area where you're staying as long as it's close to top attractions. But as a potential expat, location is crucial for your future well-being. So stay in a rental close to the places you'd visit daily or weekly. For example, if I'm testing a coastal city, I never want to be more than 30 minutes by car from the coast. As a nature lover, I also always try to pick places where I can easily go for a walk nearby or have access to nature. Chapter 2. Shop like a local. As a tourist, you may choose to splurge more since you're staying only a week or two and then you're back to your regular life and home-cooked meals. But if you're testing a new country, you can't eat out every day, unless locals actually do. Shop for groceries like a local. Compare supermarkets. Check out what's available in your neighborhood store. Go to a farmer's market. Try shopping for other items you might need later, such as small electronic appliances, household supplies, or fitness equipment. For example, when I lived on Barbados, I quickly realized that local shops were full of low-quality goods. But it was hard to find anything of high quality. That factor alone made living there frustrating. And the only way to know this was by shopping like a local. Order something online, too, to see how delivery works. It may be intimidating to navigate local websites and shipping options, but it's the only way to figure out if you can easily get what you need online if local options are limited. For example, when I lived on the Canary Islands, I learned that ordering online there is much harder than within mainland Spain. Don't forget to visit a pharmacy to make sure your medications are available. For example, when I lived on Bonaire, I discovered that I couldn't buy even basic eardrops without a prescription. Over-the-counter medication was much more limited there than elsewhere. If you have ongoing medical needs, make sure that daily life in your new destination won't get complicated because of them. If possible, schedule a checkup with a doctor to see how local healthcare works. And the same goes for everyday needs. Visit a barbershop, go to a beautician, or make an appointment with a dentist. If you decide to move, you'll have to do it anyway, so you might as well try it now. Chapter 3. Move like a local. Transportation is yet another item on your list to experience like a local, not a tourist. If you usually drive everywhere, Don't rely on public transportation in your new city. Rent a car and learn how the place works for drivers. What's the driving culture? How's the parking situation? How bad is traffic? And when is rush hour? As a tourist, staying in a central location, perhaps taking a bus, tram, or a taxi every now and then, you'll never know if you can function in that same place as a driver. And likewise, if you don't plan to own a car, rely on public transportation. Is it reliable, punctual, modern, safe? Or can you perhaps walk everywhere comfortably? For example, when I stayed in Seoul, I learned that Google Maps doesn't offer navigation there. While there are local alternatives, they were much less convenient for everyday navigation than the tool I was so accustomed to. If you plan to travel regularly by plane, what are the available connections? How stable are flight connections? Could a key route be canceled? As a tourist, you only fly in once and leave for good. But as a potential resident, you need to know all the possible ways to get in and out, depending on how often you plan to travel or how often your friends and family will visit you there. Check the region, too. Don't just stay in one city unless you're happy staying put. Is the area around the city safe? Do you have many options for day trips? How do you like it? There are two more aspects of everyday living that you need to test as a potential local instead of a tourist. Both are overlooked, yet extremely important. Chapter 4. Enjoy life like a local. Don't pause your hobbies when you're testing a new place. As a tourist, maybe you don't mind skipping the gym or hiking for a week or two. But you need to know if you can keep up your favorite pastimes. Can you do your favorite activities in your new country? If so, where, how, and for what price? If you can't live without cultural events, what venues are available? Would you enjoy them? For example, you can't expect world-class opera on a small tropical island. Or perhaps you'd like to continue training Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Check out local gyms. See if they offer the level of instruction you're used to, or if they're not up to your standards, and how that affects your desire to live there. For example, I need access to nature and a variety of outdoor activities. So I test them all. I go on hikes, I do water sports, and I look for existing communities of nature lovers to see if I can become a part of them. Which brings us to our last point. Chapter 5. Socialize like a local. As a tourist, you're a brief visitor. You come, drop your suitcase in a hotel, explore the city, and eventually pack up and leave. As a likely expat, you're potentially planning to build your life there. And if there's one key factor that determines whether you'll actually stay long-term in a new place or not, it's the local community. So even if you're briefly testing a new place, find communities you already belong to or would like to join. If you love working from a local cafe, are there any that attract other remote workers like you? Can you easily meet people with a similar lifestyle? If you're a surfer, is a local break welcoming to new surfers, or do locals guard their waves? Some communities may be closed off to outsiders, limiting your social options. It's best to learn this beforehand so you know what's really available. Talk to seasoned expats and ask whether it was easy or hard to build lasting friendships with locals. Not every culture makes it easy for expats to connect, and that social factor alone can ruin your experience. When you're testing a country, you're not testing the tourist version. You're previewing your future life. Be very clear about the life you want to create there. How do you test a country? Let me know in the comments. If you want to discover even more things to test before you move abroad, watch the follow-up video on screen. Subscribe for more no BS guides to living abroad.